Do you need a plant for a low light area? In this video I'm going to share with you 10 perfect plants for low light spots, some important considerations when looking at plants for low light areas, as well as a bonus plant to add some colour to your room that you might not have thought of. So I'll start with ferns, as I had this in my hand for the intro. Ferns are perfect for low light positions in the house, as if you think about their natural habitat, they generally live on the forest floor in low level conditions where it's darker, sort of in the shade, and usually quite damp as well. So these are great. This is a Boston fern, Nephilepis exultata, and there is also the popular Asplenium antiquum or nidus, bird's nest fern, depending on how it's listed. There are many other varieties available that you can choose from depending on the aesthetic that you want from the different types of leaves that you can get. So have a shop around, see what might fit your spot, and this will hopefully give you a bit of greenery in that darker space. They do like generally moist soil. You can allow the top of the soil to dry out a little bit between waterings, but avoid letting it dry out completely, as while these can be generally forgiving, such as the two that I've mentioned, some can be quite fussy, and without the right level of water or even humidity in the air, they can go crispy quite quickly, or the fronds will sort of start browning off. So just make sure that you do remember to water these if you decide to get a fern for your low light spot. So the next one, this is another really popular type of plant. This is a golden pothos or devil's ivy or Epipremnum aureum. There are lots of different types of Epipremnum available, so you can get ones with darker leaves, longer leaves, more variegation, white variegation, all sorts if you just shop around depending on the look that you're going for. So you'll have a plant for your low light spot, but also it's one that will forgive you if you forget to water it occasionally. You can let the soil dry between watering, and these actually don't like too much water, so one of the main reasons for killing these is overwatering, where you start to get the sort of yellow leaves and mushiness or rot of the stems. So if you do forget to water sometimes and you're after a plant for a low light spot, then this is probably a good type of plant for you, and then find the right sort of variation that fits your space. So another really popular type of plant, you'll recognise this as a Sansevieria, although I believe they are now classified as Dracaenas, but we know them as Sansevieria, so that's the name that I'm going to use for this video. This is a Sansevieria fire, and there are lots of different variations or varieties available again, so if you want some colour, this is a great one because it's got some bright yellow on it. You can also get the more standard green ones, like the Zelanica, or even black coral if you want a little bit of darkness in the leaves or darker shaded leaves. And if you've only got a small space, you can also find smaller varieties such as this Harney. Again, these come in sort of variegated versions. There are many different varieties, so have a shop around and see what you can find. So these are also what you might call unkillable, as they are incredibly hardy plants. You only need to water them infrequently, so when the soil dries out, give them a little bit of water. They retain quite a lot of water in the plant as they're quite succulent. These will also forgive you if you do forget to water for a period of time, just like the pothos. So if that's something you are guilty of, then this is probably the type of plant for you. You'll generally know if they do need water or if it's been too long, as the tops can go a little bit crispy sometimes. And even with that, unlike some leaves, when they start to brown, you can also snip them off and cut them down. They do look a little bit odd when you've done that, but it doesn't kill the plant or the leaf. So again, very, very forgiving depending on your plant care experience and ability. This could be the perfect plant to add a bit of greenery and striking structure to a low light area in your home. So in keeping with the popular and easy to care for plants, you'll hopefully recognise this, the Monterey delicioso. This has really lovely distinctive leaves and can be quite a statement plant when it gets to a certain size. This leaf in particular is perfect, and these can grow really fast and really big, so if you've got quite a space to fill, then this could be a good option for you. So these are also really forgiving, just like the Sansevieria and the pothos plants. They only really require watering when the top of the soil is dry, but generally do like to keep some moisture in the soil, as they are tropical plants, so I wouldn't advise letting it dry out completely. However, even if you did forget to water it occasionally, it's not going to kill off the plant. They'd usually show you signs that they are struggling, whether that's with water or they need some fertiliser, for example, before anything happens to the plant. So bear that in mind. If you do need an easy to care for plant to fill a large space in a low light setting, this could be an option for you. So just like the Monstera, Dracaena can also be quite statementy plants for any room that they're in. Give it a really nice tropical look, almost with their sort of palm look to them, with the way their leaves fall like a little palm tree. They come in lots of different varieties and colours, so this one has a lovely mix of lime, greeny yellow with the dark green and white stripes. You can get them in darker greens with pinks and magentas on them, and even more sort of white of variegation as well, depending on what you're looking for your space. This one is a broader leafed variety. You can also get them in a thinner leaved variety, so this is a Dreissena marginata bicolour. It's got lovely dark green leaves with a pink outline on them. You can, as with the other one, get this in lots of different colours with lighter colours, as well as even much darker colours as well, such as the magenta, which almost has a very dark red purple colour to it. This one looks a little bit more like a little palm tree. These do come in all different sorts of sizes. You can even get them as compact versions where they don't have a stem, they're just the leaves coming out of the pot, while over the time they might develop that stem. So depending on the space that you've got a lot of options with these in terms of size and colour that would hopefully fill that sort of low light space that you're trying to find a plant for. So these are also really easy to look after, so they do only require watering when the soil is dry. They will forgive you if you forget to water it occasionally, but do bear in mind that repeatedly forgetting, if it's not getting enough water, the leaves might start to sort of brown at the tips, or even brown completely and fall off, or you might take them off if they become unsightly. So it will tell you if it's really not happy and not getting enough water, so do try to water it regularly and not forget that it's there, because it is such an easy to care for plant that doesn't require a lot of attention. So this is one of my new favourites. This is an Aglaonema, or Chinese evergreen plant. This is an Aglaonema crete, and I just love how bright the colours are on it. So if you've got a spot where you're looking to add a little bit of colour, an Aglaonema could be a really good option for you, as they come in many different colour variations. You can get the standard green varieties, or you can get ones with, like this, it's got pink stems and sort of a pink or red on the leaves with the green. You can also get them as bright pink, almost the whole leaf is pink or red, and I'm sure there are other colours available that I'm not aware of, that I've not seen, but I'm excited to find more varieties and add them to the collection. These are really easy to look after. They really don't require a lot of care at all, just a regular watering, and that's it really. So water it when the top of the soil is dry. They do like to keep some moisture in the soil, but other than that, they should be really easy to care for and very forgiving, and a great way, as I said, to add some colour to a low light area of your room. This one is my go-to plant for low light areas, the ZZ plant, or Zamioculcas zamiifolia. This has been at the back of a room with a north facing window, so it doesn't get much no direct light at all. This has been there for months. I actually can't remember how long it's been there, but it's still doing well. It's still green, it's got lots of stems, it's got new stems that have come up, and it's really easy to look after, almost in a way, as I have done, a set it and forget it type plant. So it doesn't require a lot of care at all. It doesn't actually need a lot of water, or it doesn't even like a lot of water even, because the stems are quite succulent and it has tubers in the soil that retain a lot of moisture. So you can let the soil dry out completely between waterings, and even if you do forget to water occasionally, again, it probably won't even notice. So this one is just a standard ZZ plant with the lovely dark green glossy leaves. You can get these in different variations as well, so ZZ Raven and Zizinova with darker leaves, and the Raven has black leaves, I believe. So have a look out for that if you want something a little bit more unusual, or use this if you're after something just to add a bit of greenery to that low light area. If you want something that's a little bit more compact, you can also get the ZZ Zenzi. So this one, you can see the leaves are much closer together, coming off the stem in pairs, and have a slight curve to them, and even maybe smaller leaves too, compared to this one. So there's lots of different options available for you as well, so depending on the sort of look that you're going for. So it wouldn't be a video about low light houseplants without bringing out the peace lily. This is a small peace lily, although it doesn't have the distinctive white flowers at the moment, but hopefully they will return. These come in many different sizes as well, so this one's a small one, lots of compact little leaves. These will get somewhat bigger, but you can get much larger varieties with leaves on longer stems and almost paddle-like leaves that will then sort of fan out and really fill a space. So perfect, depending on what space you've got, you should be able to find a variety of this that will fit. They're incredibly easy to care for as well, so you only really need to water it when the top of the soil is dry, and they do like some moisture in the soil, but even if you forgot to water, they will be fine with that. And these can almost be brought back from the brink of death. So if you were to forget completely to water it, it tells you when it needs watering. The leaves will wilt, and then that's when you should water it. Even if the leaves have wilted to the point where it looks dead, if you give it some water, you'd be surprised at how many of the leaves perk up and come back. So if you do have maybe a bit of a reputation as a plant killer, or you struggle with plants, this is a really good one for you to put in your low light space, and hopefully it will thrive. Now the next plant I'm sure you will recognise. This is a spider plant, or Chlorophytum camosum. This is an incredibly easy to care for plant. It will survive in pretty much any space that you put it, and it's a really good one if you do want to sort of hang it up, because as it grows and it matures, it will develop sort of little spider plants that trail off it, and these can grow quite large and bushy as well and start to fill out the pots. So these are perfect both for small spaces and maybe medium-sized spaces, or even high up spaces, depending on what sort of look that you're going for. You can get them with slight different variations of colour as well. So this one has a lot of nice sort of white lines down the leaves. You can get sort of more greener ones, and as I said, different variations there. So these ones you can let the soil dry between watering, and if you do forget to water, again, very forgiving, just water it next time you remember. One thing I will note is not to give it too much water though, as that can lead to sort of rotting or sort of the stems and leaves going mushy. So really good one if you do occasionally forget to water, or you want that versatility of where you're going to put it in a pot or maybe hanging up, for example. Now the next plant is one that I don't actually have, although it is on my wish list. It's the Aspidistra elatior, or cast iron plant. This is not too dissimilar in look to the peace lily, with the dark green leaves almost in the paddle shape. It is really easy to care for. It prefers slightly moist soil, so you can let the top of the soil dry between waterings, and it also doesn't grow too large, so it's good really for sort of small to medium sized spaces. So it's perfect if you just want to add a bit of easy to care for greenery in a low light area of your home. Now the next one is a really common plant usually found outdoors. It's Heterohelix, or English ivy. You can use this as a trailing or a climbing plant in your home depending on the aesthetic that you're going for. They are really fast growers and really don't need a lot of attention at all. They do like to keep moist soil, so water it regularly, but make sure that the soil isn't waterlogged. If you think about it in its natural habitat, they grow pretty much anywhere, whether that's in full sun or on the forest floor and growing up trees, for example. So they're very, very hardy and adaptable to wherever they're being grown. Now the final plant is possibly one you may not have considered. It is a Caladium. There are so many different varieties of these available in all different colours, from reds and pinks to whites and greens, different patterns on the leaves, even multicoloured ones with green leaves and lots of specks on there. This one is a Caladium rosebud with this wonderful dark red, lighter green going into the darker green outline. These, I think because of the colours, are often assumed that they like bright spaces. While they do like bright indirect light, they are actually shade loving plants. They don't like direct light or too much direct sun because it can burn the delicate leaves. So this is a fantastic plant if you want to add a burst of colour to a low light room. They do require a little bit more attention in that they like slightly high humidity and they do like their soil to be moist, so they might need watering a little bit more regularly than your standard houseplants or your other houseplants. So I think with all of this extra colour that the plant's going to give you, it's worth that extra little bit of attention that you need to give it. Now there is one important thing to note with low light settings and low light plants, and whether they are plants that prefer low light or plants that tolerate low light. So things like ferns, where their natural habitat is very shady, these will prefer that sort of position, whereas other plants that we've looked at tolerate low light but actually are better in brighter spots, or actually their optimal light preference is bright indirect light, such as the Monterey delicioso or the Pothos plants. They will be perfectly healthy and survive in the low light settings, but what you might find is that their growth will be a little bit slower than it would be if they were in a brighter setting. So do bear that in mind when you are looking for plants and you see things labelled as thriving in low light or low light tolerable or tolerating of low light, then there is a difference. I hope you found this video useful in helping you to find a plant for your low light space. This list isn't exhaustive, so there are many other types that you can find. If you've got any other suggestions, please do put them in the comments below to help other viewers. If you'd like to see more plant related content, please subscribe, and we'll have new videos every week, usually on a Sunday. As always, thank you for watching Grow Your Wellbeing.